Well, hello there! Welcome to the Crafty stream. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Auntie Sarah, and I'm here with CoffeeCraft to just inspire and empower you to craft with your own two hands. And today, we're going to be doing some embroidery, which is one of my favorite crafts. So I'm excited to get going. I did want to mention that while this is live, and I'm so thrilled to see you guys here on time and excited to do some crafts with me. If you're not able to watch this video live, you can always leave and go do what you gotta go do and come back and watch it after the fact. It should be posted to our channel. But yeah, we really appreciate you being part of the Crafty community and getting the watch hours and like, subscribes, everything like that. It really means a ton to us. So I'm gonna go ahead today. I don't have a hot cup of motivation. Don't sue me, okay? Instead, I have a cold cup of Sprite, as well as some cookies to help keep me motivated and energized to get through this kind of project today. But I hope you get yourself a snack and a cup of motivation of your temperature preference. And I'm gonna get started. So today I am working on the third embroidery project in this, I guess you'd call it a series. I started I guess 3 years ago, making a embroidery for my friend's little baby, and I had so much fun doing this original kit that it inspired me to kind of take this theme and make different forest animal ideas with it. So last year I did a squirrel where the tail was made of flowers, and then this year I went with a goose. So essentially, I've already done the kind of dark brown or black outlines, so that should be pretty quick. And today I'm going to show you how to do the different floral and fern designs that you can kind of see. So many lights. Yeah, we're going to essentially follow the same kind of pattern. It's just on a whole new design. So if you've never seen a pattern before, I can go over that quickly with you. Usually they come with a kind of blown up picture. This is not like to scale or anything for what they give you in the kit originally. This kit came with a plastic hoop, a pre-printed design on a piece of fabric, which not all kits do, and they gave me enough floss to do the project, but of course, you know, I had to go out and buy new floss for this project, and a new hoop and a new piece of cloth to embroider on. But they generally give you kind of a tip of, you know, in general, what should you be doing first. They suggest that you do the outline of the deer head first in this one, which I've already done the outline of the goose. Then we do the different stems and flowers, and next the bigger flowers. And essentially you kind of want to think about embroidery in a similar sense to painting, where, you know, usually you're gonna try to do a lot of the kind of background work before you do the foreground work, right? So you can get the sky, the perfect shade of everything you want in the background, and then start working your way forward in the painting. We're gonna do the same kind of logic here so that, you know, our stems can be hidden by the flowers in front of it, and everything like that. But oh, I see Auntie Christine went with one cold and one hot cup of motivation, so there's always more options. You know, you don't have to limit yourself. But yeah, so essentially I'll go over some quick embroidery tips as I get through this project. Hopefully I can get through a few different flower types. And if you've got any questions about embroidery or stitching or the hobby in general, feel free to post that in the chat. I will be monitoring it, and of course Auntie Christine is already there, so if it's something she knows, I'm sure she can you know, respond quickly too. So first color we're going to start with, they suggest that we do the stems and satin stitch flower and leaves first. So the first kind of stem they suggest here would be the teal with the weird bubble design. And I think those on my pattern are probably just around here. That guy and this guy down here. So we will get the dark teal going. Oh, I'm sorry, just regular teal, not dark teal. Oh, I picked the wrong end. Okay, we'll go this side. So I usually like to start with a forearm. Let's see if I can get my whole forearm in here. A forearm worth of floss. I don't really like to work with a lot longer. I'm sure that comes out to some number of inches if you don't prefer your freedom units like I do, but I measure things in Sarah's. So this is one Sarah forearm long. And I do that mostly so that I don't get any tangles or knots while I'm working with the floss. If your floss is too long, it's just prone to make you mad. And they also mention how many strands you should be using. So the teal, the fern green, and the brown, most of these will be 3 strands. And when I bought the floss, or if you go to the store to pick up floss, you need to pay attention to how many strands they say is in the floss itself. It labels itself as 6-strand floss, so just be aware of that. The fun like spools that you might see, those are generally like 1 or 2 strand, so like you wouldn't be able to do this kind of project with that unless you double up or do a bunch of extra work. So, but this is usually a standard, is 6-inch or 6-strand. You just separate the strands and you pull it apart. That's the other upside of not working with super long pieces of floss, is it doesn't get knotted when you separate it either, so it keeps it easy the whole time. I remember when I was a beginner, I was always tempted though. I wanted to use like the whole length of the the I don't know what you would call that, like a, because like if you have the beginning of your knitting or crochet project, you'd call that a ball of yarn. I don't know, like a wad of floss over here. Okay, so I'm just knotting the end of it, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I've got just a needle that I've already worked with to do the outline here, and it's big enough that I can easily get the floss through the eye of the needle, but it's not much bigger than that because I don't want to leave gaping holes, you know. My floss is too separated. There we go. Ugh. It's fighting me. I will persevere. I will overcome. I will adapt. See? Perfect. No problems. So Auntie Christine asks, some embroidery kits come with the number listing of the colors, right? It was just this one that made it challenging for you. Oh, yeah. So this one did have the color numbers. However, I, like the Sacred Store of Joann's, generally use DMC brand floss. And this is not a DMC brand project. So this is the brand Plaid Busilla, which is a brand of embroidery floss. But Joann's does not carry that floss as a big aisle of colors. So when I saw it needed these 8 colors to stock up again, I had to do some internet sleuthing to maybe get some, like a conversion to a DMC color number. It turns out most of these colors are not listed in a conversion chart online, which I didn't love that part, but essentially what I did was, the last time I did this project, I saved all of my extra floss and I just wound it around this extra bookmark I had and put it with the project when I put it away, because I knew I was going to keep making a new project like this every year. And then I just took this to the store with me, and I was in the aisle doing my best to color match. And not everything is perfect. Like, I would say, it might be really hard to tell on camera, but I'd say this brown is more brown than the brown that came in the kit. But it's close. I think since these projects aren't going to be like, you know, directly sewn together, it's probably going to be pretty hard to tell that it's not a perfect color match. But yeah, I mean, now that I have the list of colors, I know what to order online. I don't really have to go to Joann's again if I don't want to, which might happen, you know. Okay, so for these we're just going to do a back stitch to get to the length of it, and then we are going to leave the little dots at the end undone, and those will be French knots with different colors and make it fun. So to start, I push my way through the back of the piece, pull forward, go forward, I don't know, like a small amount, and then when I come back again, I'm going to go further forward on the piece from where I, ooh, here we go, from where I was, pull it all the way up. So you can see that I didn't come up right next to where I went in because I'm going to back stitch my way back to it. There you go. I'll just do that for these lines. I really like this stitch. It seems to go pretty quick for me, and it covers a good distance, and it's pretty easy to learn for a beginner. There we go. Alright, now I'm moving on to the next one. You can choose to tie off here if you really want to. I'm a little bit lazy, so I just, on the back of the piece, move to where I'm going, and just come up and start again. Once you do this a little bit, you kind of get to know, almost like a mind-finger coordination situation where you know where you are on the back of your piece. It's very hard to explain. I am trying to decide what I'm going to do after, like if I keep doing these different designs every single year, like I'm trying to decide if I should convince my friend to give them all back to me for my friend's child's 18th birthday, and they make something out of all of them together. I think that'd be pretty fun, like maybe a wall hanging or something. All the different forest animals. Oh, brand new. I pulled the floss right out of my needle. There we go. Oh yeah, Auntie Christine in the chat asks, what type of craft is everyone doing today? I suspect we have a few different crafters joining us. Well, let's start with you, Auntie Christine. What are you working on today? Okay. Oh, okay. I'm just reviewing where teal is used next to judge if I could just do a little bit more stitching for the teal, but I'm gonna go ahead and just wait, I think, and do all the different ferns stems first, and then move on and come back to teal if I need to. I will need to, but when I need to. Ooh, Auntie Christine will be doing some watercolors in the new sword design, which conveniently is also behind me. Yeah, so like she said, this is a little bit of a shameless plug. We're readers of the fantasy romance genre. We were a little inspired by the book that's coming out in a few days. So we did some crafts related to that. I still have to finish book 2 of the series, which I'm really close. I think I have about 3 hours of listening left. So things are starting to kind of amp up the way that those books always do. It's like, you know, you just kind of have this like plodding along speed, and then the last like 5 to 10 chapters of these books is always like on crack. I don't know a better way to say it. Like, it's just fast, and like you don't know who's gonna do what, you don't know who's gonna survive, you don't know anything. You're just for the ride. That's what you are. You're just along for the ride. But that's what makes them a little bit addictive, I think. Alright. Next, let's do the fern green, which, judging from here, would be the lighter of the green. So again, just a little bit of a forearm or floss. I gotta get that on a shirt. Just a forearm or floss. People are gonna think I'm a dentist. Okay, there we go. Sorry, that takes concentration for me. I feel like in general I don't really tie much. You know, like, you know, as a kid you learn to tie your shoes, and as an adult you get slip-on shoes. So then I go to tie something like floss, and I'm having to get those old brain cells still chugging. There we go. All right. So I think I will do the other 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Maybe I'll go ahead and do this upper one in teal as well, because that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I think it'd be good to do like a 3 and a 5 rather than doing 4 and 4. I seem to notice that I don't really like, when I do something artistic, to do things with like pure symmetry. You know, like if I have 8 ferns, I don't really like the look of having 4 of one color, 4 of another color. I don't know what it is. I think it's just my brain. I don't see a lot of things in real life that are actually that symmetric. Maybe that's the problem. Oh no, these ones are dark green. Ooh, almost mistake. Not today. So then that still puts us at 2 and 3. So maybe we'll do the top one in dark green then. So then it'll be 3, 3, 2. Okay. Pull that back a little bit. The nice thing about working on embroidery fabric is that it's got a really, really wide grain, I guess, like a very coarse, I guess grain is the right word for the fabric, where the holes in it are pretty big. So it's pretty easy to find your way back out in case you don't actually want to be there. So I'm going to still backstitch the whole length of this, but when I come back down, I'm going to use a chain stitch to be the leaves. So I'll show you how to do that when I get there. Oh, the other thing I did kind of want to note is how I marked my fabric. In my case, I went risky and I used a pen. It's not a method I recommend for most beginners because you have to commit to covering up the pen completely, which can be challenging, especially if you're a perfectionist and you're going to be it's going to be hard for you to ignore if you accidentally leave a little bit of pen visible. I've had pretty good luck where it's not really been a huge issue for me. And I mean, I've been embroidering, oh Lord, since 2015. Almost 10 years, 9 years. Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, I've been embroidering for a little bit of time. So I'm willing to take more risks, I feel like, and they aren't just because I'm like got that brand new confidence. It's a mixture of the old timer confidence and laziness, I think. So. What is that? We have one strand of the 3 that does not want to pull. Who would do this? So what I'm seeing here is, I don't know how well you can see that. Maybe this way? Nope, even worse. Cool. So this guy shouldn't exist. Can you see that? Where there's like an extra strand of loop thing going on. Every day is new challenges, man. Okay. So all I did was I loosened it up and then just kind of pulled both directions, and that seemed to sort it out. But then you have to essentially pull that excess length all the way out through the whole floss, or else it'll just loop again in the next stitch. So Yeah. Yeah, see, I know so there are hobbies that I love to try that are new to me. Which, I mean, I think I will always be working on a hobby that's new to me. That's just my personality. But you always start with that, oh, I can figure it out. I'm smart, right? That confidence that doesn't come from any amount of experience is just confidence in your, the confidence in like your own capabilities, and that's generally overconfidence, especially when you're trying something new that is a craft, right? This takes time to do well. But yeah, I don't know. I still fall for the stuff that it's like I knew better and I still chose to take a shortcut, which ended up adding a ton of time because you have to go back and do it right half the time. So judging when you can take the shortcut, I think, is the true test of whether or not you have done this craft a ton, right? Because I feel like all of us know quick shortcuts even in crafts we've never tried before. Like it's a human decision to just not iron your fabric before you start sewing, right? Or it's like everyone does that. It's the most common, well, I just gotta save some time. Oh man. So I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I think there is some, like, to me it's how you know you should really be proud, right? Is because when you can make that call of what kind of shortcut can you make and then have it actually be the right call for once in my life, like, I don't know. I think you should easily take pride in that. There we go. Oh, I'm not really explaining what this chain stitch is now, am I? Oh no! Don't worry, I got two more. I can show you on the next one. So to do a chain stitch, you come up near the base of your little leaf you want to make. Let's see if I can do it from far away. Yeah, that'll work. So you come up, and then you go back in the exact same spot on either side. So I chose to go on the right to me side. And then you don't pull the floss all the way through. Instead, you come back up through the fabric at the end of your leaf, so away from the stem. And for me, I just leave the needle like part way in, part way out. And then I adjust the floss so that it will be rotated the right way. This is hard to do away from me, but I'm gonna do my best. Oh, baby. Have I ever said I'm not super coordinated? There we go. So now I've got my loop and my needle here. So now I'm just gonna pull the needle nice and gently so that I stay with my floss coming up through the loop, and just pull it. And you don't want to pull this super duper tight because then you're going to be able to see the markings underneath your chain stitch. But so you've come up through the loop and you're going to stitch around the loop back very close to where you came up, so that will lock the chain into that position. And then you have a little leaf. I think we can also call that a little bit of a lazy daisy. That's another name for this type of stitch. If you're interested in that sort of content, if you are new to embroidery and you would appreciate having some tips on some quick stitches, we have short videos on our channel that you can always check out. Usually, I think we've kind of split it up so that two videos or two of the shorts in a week will be like, you know, chatting between Auntie Christine and I, and then the others will be a mixture of, you know, useful moments from stream or funny moments from stream or from a video that was recently released. But every once in a while, the videos that everybody seems to love so much are the shorts of like just useful embroidery steps. And if that information is not clear enough, you can always head on over to our website, and we have a free resource where you can just watch a GIF over and over and over of the same stitch. And of course, if you hear of a stitch or want to know more of one that we haven't covered, you can always just comment, and I can prioritize making some useful walkthrough for that. Because, you know, it's like I tend to just do what I like doing, which usually means it's very similar stitches. I think people who do cross stitch can really understand that, because that's really just one embroidery stitch, right? But you can make a ton of really cool stuff by like pixelating your picture into being a really pretty cross stitch pattern. Yeah. Okay, moving on up. I'm gonna have to take a little snack break here in a second. I feel my tummy saying those Thin Mints smell pretty good. Let's do the chains, and then we'll get a snack after that. If you guys would comment what craft you're doing today while I finish these up, then I can talk to you about it while I'm eating my little snack in a minute. If that sounds good to you. Oh. So that's what we had a little video about what is a cup of motivation, and honestly half the time for me it really is just a snack. Like I just need a little motivation to get going on a project, and most of the time I'm just food motivated. So a snack is a perfect little, like, you know, you gotta do some problem solving and you just need some kind of reward for trying hard. Here we go. What is going on? Oh, my music is buffering. I apologize if it's interrupting for people. Alright, now I probably could finish these chains, but I'm getting pretty low on the floss, and I have a whole nother one right over there, so I'm gonna just go ahead and tie off right here. That way I have plenty of floss to maneuver tying off. Don't tell, but I stole these cookies from Tim. Here we go. Auntie Christine is hinting that Tim maybe has enough cookies that he could share. And one of my favorite stories about that is back in college when we were responsible for ourselves for one of the first times in our lives. I think we were up in Houghton at Michigan Tech University, and we saw some Girl Scouts selling Girl Scout cookies at like the Walmart that was up there or something. And they asked, do you want to buy some Girl Scout cookies? And Tim was asking him how much they cost. And he's like, okay, but like, how much for the whole case of cookies? I think he ended up with like 5 or 6 cases of Thin Mints. It's his favorite Girl Scout cookie. Which, feel free to chime in if you have a differing opinion on your most favorite Girl Scout cookie. But that man, he knows what he wants, and he will buy 5 or 6 cases of it. Even still, there's like one guy at work who every season he sends me an email like, hey, best buyer, we're selling again. How many cases can I put you down for? See, I have to be careful. Like, if I buy more than 1 case of something like that, the whole case is gone within, like, a stupidly short period of time. Like, it's only a problem if we admit it's a problem. There we go. It reminds me so much of those memes of like, when you're a kid and you want McDonald's, but your mom doesn't want McDonald's, and the question is, well, did you bring your McDonald's money, right? And because you're a kid, you don't have any money, so the answer is no. But then, as an adult, you're in the car with your mom, and she's like, oh, yeah, you want to just stop at McDonald's? It's your perfect chance to say, did you bring your McDonald's money? Because Tim brought his Girl Scout cookie money that day, right? No parent was there to say no. All right, on to this guy. Actually, we might go ahead and do the teal for this one up there, because these leaves are going to be, I think, the same dark green as well, so. See, like, 1 cookie gives me so much energy, like I feel so much more awake. Just that sugar rush. Okay. I think that's good. Ow, ooh. And don't do that. Don't just stab yourself with a needle for no reason. let's go ahead and do that teal section, and then we'll do the dark green. I'm gonna go with the longer one. Yeah. Now, I don't appreciate searching around for a needle over and over and over with, you know, my lack of patience in advancing age. I can't see it that good as well as I used to. So I got this really cool magnet in one of the embroidery kits that I bought a few years ago. And essentially it just goes, there's a little magnet on the back and then a piece of metal on the front, and that kind of keeps your needle where it belongs. I think they called it a needle minder. So this one came in a cute Animal Crossing peach design. But I mean, they make tons of different designs if you head over to Amazon or Etsy or something like that. It's one of my favorite, more recent purchases for embroidery. Use it every project. So I used to just, you know, if I was going to put my project down for a minute and go do something else, I would kind of just stitch my needle into the excess fabric, which worked fine. Most of the time I didn't lose it, but I say most of the time because, like, if you come over to my house and you don't wear your shoes, you run a risk of finding different needles in the carpet. Needles, sewing pins. Who knows? It depends if I was there recently. I think there literally is a stitch counter just right by the door that I've seen every time I've sat in here, and I just keep forgetting to pick it up by the time I leave. And as you see, I'm not immediately picking it up right now, so. But on the other hand, if I need to count stitches and I can't find my big pile of stitch counters, I know exactly where one is. It's big brain. That's what that is. I had some fun when I was designing this embroidery pattern. It's like, you know, you're trying to make a goose, and every other animal I've done so far has kind of taken part of, you know, the animal itself to make the flowers with. And I was struggling. I was trying to decide, do I do the wings as flowers or something else? Just the idea of like a goose wearing a crown of flowers and like this big, like, almost this reminded me of, do you remember in the 90s or early 2000s it was like before Love is Blind, before anything else, there's a show called Finding Love with Flava Flav, or The Flavor of Love, where the rapper Flava Flav would, you know, essentially be the Bachelor and date like 20 women at a time. And he's wearing like a Flavor Flav necklace, just a flower instead. So I was cracking up, man. Oh, welcome, Jawa Jill. Yes. What craft are you working on this afternoon? But yeah, I see this goose as a posturing kind of rapper goose. So I've lost some of the definition here, so I'm just gonna have to go for it to try to cover up the pen marks I've got. So my leaves on this one are gonna be a little bit closer together than my initial plan, I think. That's okay. It's the first thing you do when you have a problem is you just pivot and you try to solve it. Oh, we got a knot. It's not a problem for me. It reminds Auntie Christine of how people like to dress up their goose statues. What's funny is the friend of mine who I'm giving this to, she has a goose statue. So she could put her goose in this literal outfit. Oh, different costume for different like holidays. Oh, I love that. Like a little Santa Claus goose or maybe like a witch goose. Uncle Sam goose. I love that. There we go. Ooh. When you go through the loop, you gotta be careful not to split one of the strands of floss. If you do that, you create a mess that's really hard to clean up. Usually ends up with me just cutting the strand, which I don't love. I don't love that. Avoid. Not a fun time. Alright, I think we can get one more, just so it doesn't look so empty on this end. There we go. All right. I think that brings us to a close with 2 colors. So this is what we're looking like so far. We still got the dark green to go for the leaves, and then these other 2 kind of stick ones, and then after that we're moving on to colors for the flowers. It'll be pretty. I will say I do prefer the flower portion of this work, because like this is fine and this is good. It just doesn't feel like it's coming together. Like when you see the bright colors from the flowers, you know, like the vision is happening. But just like dessert, it's better after hard work. Okay. So we are pretty much done with you two. Put this over here. Dark green next. And this is looks like, yes, so this was the slashy bit, which was a 3-strand as well. Okay. There we go. Okay. So for those of you joining us, I can give you a little bit of a sneak peek. Oh, well, and Auntie Christine is thinking along the same lines as me, actually. She says she's moved on to sewing repairs and that they allow her to do some tasks that maybe she puts off. Well, happy to be that, you know? And honestly, like, I actually listen to the streams back later in the week just to make sure, you know, I'm covering the stuff I want to cover and see if it's entertaining as a viewer. But I love it when I'm at work and I have to do, like, kind of, I don't know what the word is. It's monotonous, I think is the right word, kind of coding work. And I just need some kind of music or background sounds just to keep my brain from getting distracted, I feel. And honestly, having headphones in means that some people at work will assume I'm in a meeting or doing something really important and I want to focus. And yeah, it's the perfect thing to do, to just put it on, get the work you need to get done, and you can just spend time with me. So there's only upsides from my end. But along the sewing mindset, I could give you a little hint at what the next crafty plan would be for you people joining me on stream, if you're interested. In the same sense of being inspired by the books we're reading right now to do the more sword themed designs that I made a patch out of in last week's video, I got inspired on making a tutorial to sew a bag that is designed for readers to take their books with them. You know, there are lots of bags out there that do fit books, as the book bag name kind of suggests, but I've noticed a lot of bags in general they aren't really organized that well. You know, there's just kind of a really big empty space in the middle of it, and then it's up to the consumer to just organize themselves, which is fine. I think there are a lot of uses for bags like that. Like, if you're going to use them for many things, it's great to have more flexibility in what it's designed for. But I think having a bag that's designed for reading in particular, meaning that I have room for my Kindle or my hardcover or a spot for my water bottle and a blanket to go for when I want to go on a picnic and take my book with me, sounds like a bag that I would love to have. Which maybe is a selfish motivation, but I don't know. I think that it's something that a lot of people I know would enjoy. So that's the project for the next tutorial that we're working on. It uses all the same kind of basic sewing skills that our other tutorials have taught so far, but it so far is coming out really cool. I'm very happy with how the design is coming together in a very kind of classy, you know, that's a nice bag kind of way. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope that you guys are looking forward to that too. Although I do know that most of you, if you're waiting for the same book as me, you will probably just close yourself away in your room and just finish the book when it comes out. But you know, there are cases where maybe you want to go reread out in nature. Myself a little bit more. There we go. So for these more kind of stick straight ferns, I'm still just doing a back stitch, and to do the little leaves that go with it, I'm just doing a back stitch back to the stem, but doing the length of the stitch as however long that leaf, I guess, would be. Makes it pretty easy and pretty quick. So now we're gonna do the little leaves here by the flower. And to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and just backstitch the outline. And then afterward, I will satin stitch over the outline. And that backstitch will help ensure that the satin stitch that I do over it is going to have similar kind of tension holding the satin stitches at the similar width. I don't always do this. Sometimes I just satin stitch without outlining it. That turns out looking fine too, but I'm trying to make this look consistent to the other projects. So I'm going to be doing things in a very similar way. And honestly, like, my favorite thing about these different kits and plans, you can personalize them however you want. Like, this pattern is a fun pattern, but it really is just a guideline. If you'd prefer a different look, there's nothing stopping you. You got the power, you know? You can go ahead and make this as silly as you want. You want to add blush to the cheeks of this goose, you go ahead and you add a couple of little pink hazy spots. It's up to you. You could probably even fill in the goose with whatever color you want. You want him to look like he's got polka dots? You do you. Ooh, Christine's gonna whip out the big guns. The sewing machine. Sometimes, like... yeah, I mean, that's fair. Hand sewing your patches and things can really just take a lot of a lot of patience with yourself and with the project. But honestly, like half the time I need patience to just get my sewing machine do what I want it to do. But usually it's alright. We're getting close here. Gonna have to switch floss. I think I can finish this leaf though. We'll see if that was the right choice or if I was greedy. There we go. Haha, I win again. Things are getting tangly. Looks like I've got pieces of the fabric falling out. I'm going to go ahead and trim that just so it's not a problem when I do my satin stitch. See, almost lost it. Not today. Okay. We have 1 hour left. We got satin stitches, some lazy daisies, French knots, the 5-star rose, and this will be a satin stitch, but just from the center out to the edges. Left to do so. Need a little motivation. I actually think I'm going to leave the satin stitches for the end so that we can get some color on this thing for the stream. Some flower color. So let's go ahead and do the lazy daisies. Those are also done in 3s. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 of them. And they used 2 different colors for the flowers, it looks like. So they use the 2 pink colors. Which, that's not true. This one did one in this orange. I'm gonna do 1 orange, 1 light pink. See? You gotta keep your eye on the picture here, because sometimes these colors don't mean nothing. Alright, let's get some orange. Okay. Alright. So for this daisy, we're going to start at the center and go right back to the center. But again, before pulling all the way through, we're gonna come up at the end of where the petal would be, loop through our floss that's left near the top, and just gently pull. We don't want this to be super tight, but you want this to be pretty much flush to the fabric here. Stitch yourself on the outside of the petal and bring it down to lock it in. Then go right back to the center and do the next petal. Ooh, the music's buffering. Hope it's not buffering that often for you guys. It's so hard to tell with my end of the YouTube streaming GUI, like if everything is Gucci. It's just one of those we do it and see how it goes kind of situations. There we go. The first flower is done. So cute. Okay. Next, we're gonna skip the flower that's closest and go to the one after that. Then we'll do one of the flowers in the crown. In this case, I'm thinking I will have an even number of colors, even though that's usually not my favorite. Just because I like the idea of the alternating flowers here. Oh, I guess the flower's not done. They have a little yellow French knot at the center of each of these flowers, so we'll be adding that when all of them are done. And don't get on yourself so hard if you're going through this kind of project and you're finding it's hard to get all your petals to be the same length. It's not that easy. And you know, there are lots of flowers out in real life that aren't perfect. day. Twisty. Things are coming together. Ooh, another little thing that's coming up pretty soon is the Super Bowl. I got a couple friends who are pretty excited for this year. If you're not keeping up with sports ball, like I don't usually keep up with sports ball, you may not know that for the first time in my lifetime, the Lions are doing pretty good. The Michigan team. And it's possible, depending how they do, that they may actually make it to the Super Bowl this year. So, you know, they haven't really come this close in a while. So everybody in Michigan is pretty excitable. We're also thinking about doing a couple little Super Bowl themed Pinterest challenges ourselves. See how we can do with that. I think I'm heading to the store tomorrow to pick up some stuff to film my attempt at making a Super Bowl snack. Yeah, it's pretty funny though. Like I remember I went to the Ford Field, which is the home of the Lions, with a couple friends. I think it was with Auntie Christine and Nate to see a soccer game, women's soccer. That was the first time I'd ever been in the Ford Field, and it was the last time I was ever at the Ford Field. And I just remember they had all these like banners up saying when they were the world champs, because they were good at football before the Super Bowl was a thing. Yeah, so it's been a little while, since like 1950 something, so it's a big deal for us Michiganders. I am excited for this year though. I feel like we have a lot of things going in great directions, whether it's with CoffeeCraft or the work I'm doing at work or my other hobbies that I'm gaining this year. I feel like it's going to be a year of growth for me and looking forward to seeing what I can do. I think that we're gonna do great on the challenge, Christine. I don't see the problem. We've never failed at Pinterest recipes before, so why would we start now? Another college story. Christine and I were a couple ladies obsessed with Pinterest when it first came out. When we suffered from that, you know, that beginner confidence that I talked about earlier. Pretty strong in college. I think it was Easter, right, Christine, where we tried to make the devil bunnies. So Pinterest made it seem like you just make your little roll of bunny and then you just cut like a couple ears, bake it, it'll look super cute. But like the dough that Christine used must have been like super rising dough. I don't know, but they didn't look like ears so much as devil horns. It really didn't quite fit the theme that good. It wasn't supposed to be the devil that day. But yeah, hopefully we were a little smarter with the project choices this year. Okay. Twist it. I can't tell you how many times I tried something from Pinterest though that I swear it really didn't look that hard, and then you go to do it and the whole thing was a lie. Like, I don't know if they just is like the 5-minute craft thing where they have a cut somewhere in it and they like do 15 other steps, they don't tell you what the steps are. Maybe that'd be the answer, but yeah, those bunnies, so there's a little special memory for me. That's never going anywhere. I recently fell for one of those kind of videos where it didn't seem that hard, but then I went to do it and it really... They must have been using movie magic when they made the TikTok about it, because it was not that easy. I saw a TikTok where they take some Sprite, which I prefer to drink, and they mixed it with some green tea. And then it turned into this kind of carbonated Arnold Palmer, which is literally 2 ingredients. But the way they showed it in the video was you'd put green tea in your bottle of Sprite, you'd close the bottle while the tea dissolved through the little bags. They don't say how long you leave it, they don't say anything, so I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm guessing. And I figure a good place to start would be the length of time the tea bags suggest that you steep them for in water. I figure it might not be long enough, but okay, maybe it doesn't taste like tea. But yeah, it turns out it like super carbonates your Sprite, and that thing it just wants to explode. And the tea bags dissolve in Sprite. I didn't know that, so I'm trying to get the tea bags out of the bottle so I could pour it, and the bags are just dissolving. So, secret answer, pour your Sprite in a cup, then steep your tea there, and then it's easy to get the tea out when it's done steeping. But I doubt you could do the whole overnight idea, and if that's the right way to do it, I don't know. But yeah, I had this science experiment night where I'm like over the sink trying to figure out my Sprite with my tea chunks in it, like straining it. I do really enjoy that though, like just trying something new and learning something along the way. Like I didn't know that tea bags would dissolve in Sprite. I don't know if it's carbonation, I don't know what's going on, but I've never seen that happen in water. I think the other one I did before that, I saw a TikTok telling me that I'd been eating Airheads wrong my whole life, the candy. I fell for that one. So the video suggested that you take your Airhead that's still in its container, like the little plastic bag it's in, and then you grab one end of it and then you just slap it back and forth until all of the like taffy candy gets to one end of the bag, and then it's like filled with air and it changes the flavor of your Airhead. All that did was bruise my hand on both sides, so don't recommend. Although it was fun to try, I'm not gonna lie. It became less fun when I was committed to making sure that all of it would get to the other side of the bag, no matter the fact that I was already bruising. Because, you know, there's part of my brain, the little monkey that's still in there, that's heavy commit, no matter what. It's okay. I love her. She's gotten me through a lot, and it's usually through heavy commitment. Yeah, Becca was there witnessing my pain, laughing at me, and then of course, like, I didn't have enough to really let everybody who was with me taste it, so they had to just believe me. But the best part is I didn't even have the same flavor as the double to do the taste test to decide if it tasted any different. It was a bad experiment from an engineering standpoint. Did not think it out fully, but it was funny. Half of those things, I don't know, people are just making up. Like, you'd think that if there was a right way to eat a candy, they would say it on the bag of candy, like how they suggest that you eat it. But then, you know, everybody knows you don't just take a bite out of the fruit roll up, because then you're just going to get a whole mouthful of paper without instructions. Or like the people who just take the bite out of the Kit Kat bar, doing it wrong. But like, it's not like they're doing that to tell me that it's gonna taste any different, right? Like, that's what got me to try it, was the fact that it might taste different. A little trick. Oh, Erica. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I got influenced. Like, I think that's just the answer, right? Is I'm an easily influenced food eater. But when I saw the Kardashians taking apart their Kit Kats, like they break the pieces, right? And then they eat the chocolate around the sides and then separate the wafers out. Like, I had to try it. And then once you do it, it's like, it's kind of fun to play with your food a little bit, so... People do look like something is wrong with you when you do that in public, though, so that's just some fair warning. Yeah, so apparently Erica has the same Kit Kat habits as Kourtney Kardashian, so, sorry to break it to you, Erica. Yeah. I know. Well, and so I've got a friend at work who didn't grow up in America, so like every once in a while we bring in something to have him try. And you know, lots of other countries have a lot more like fresh foods and you know, alternatives to snacks that, you know, maybe the 90s kids grew up with, our Sunny D and our Lunchables. So I had to bring in Gushers, right? Because like the name implies what it does, but I don't think that you're mentally prepared for the feeling of like you're biting into a gummy bear that suddenly explodes with a liquid. I don't think there's anything else on the planet that's like a Gusher. Oh yeah, the European snacks. I don't know. It's like, I think they design snacks for adults over there, whereas half the time the snacks here are designed for kids, and the flavor profiles are just totally different. But, yeah. I brought in the Push Pops. Do you remember those? They were like orange flavored, like ice cream bars. Never had one of those. I loved them. Oh my god. I was the kid who was like so obsessed with those Push Pops that like I'd be clearly done with the Push Pops, but like there was some amount of flavor that was on that plastic bit still, and like I was trying to get the flavor off of the plastic. I don't know. Like a horse with a salt lick. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think this all just circles back again to the fact that I might just be food motivated. So if a hot cup of motivation isn't the thing that gets you through your project, sometimes a plate of Thin Mints will do it for you. So mm-hmm. We're making pretty good progress, I think. I think I'll do the bigger flower next, since we have about half an hour left here. I might go a little off cue from their suggestions. I've noticed like this pattern and a few others want you to use very like kind of few number of strands for the big flower, which looks really pretty when it's done, but it takes a really long time to fill in when you have fewer strands. So again, it's a suggestion. I'm not going to have to listen to them all the time for the rest of my life. Well, thank you, Erica. Yeah, this is a, in case you're just joining, this is an inspiration from a project that I did a few years ago for a friend's baby, and her birthday's coming up. So last year I made a floral squirrel for her, and this year I've designed up a goose to go with the floral animal theme. I have to think up for next year what kind of animal I want to do next. I'm gonna be like a, well, she has a lot of fox things already, which I love foxes, but there are lots of animals in a forest, so. Let's just do one more little petal on this guy. Ooh, an owl! I like that idea, Becca. Okay. This flower. Excuse me. Put the flower up here, and then we'll move on to the big rose. We're in like the 80s hour music now. It's always such a struggle to make sure you're getting the loop to be oriented right. That's just something that takes some time and practice, unfortunately. Like most other things. Yeah. Trying to make sure you spend the time to orient it correctly really does make it look that much more like you didn't rush through the project. But I think if I remember correctly, I got the outline of this goose done before stream in about an hour to an hour and a half. It didn't take me that much time. When you work on like a 6-inch hoop and you do mostly outlines of things, things go by pretty quickly, which is nice. This is a hobby that does invest your energy time-wise. But sometimes when you stab yourself, you put in blood and tears too, so you know. It's not something that I would recommend doing as a last-minute gift to someone necessarily, just because, like, to make it look really nice, you're gonna have to take your time with it. But I wouldn't say it's extremely difficult to make something that looks super fun, look really cute. And Etsy makes a ton of these really fun kind of shorter kits where they have a lot of personality. If you're okay with some swear words, I've done some really fun like floral things where the unembroidered area is a word or another. But yeah, it's all up to what you want and what you're looking for. So, alright, to do the spiderweb rose, we need light pink, regular pink, and then they said light rust, which looks like it's the lighter of the yellows. So they say to do 1 strand of each. I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 strands of each, and that way I'll be working with 6 strands, which will go by faster because it will just fill up faster in general. Alright, thanks for joining us, Erica. Okay. Yellow. Okay, so again, I'm just grabbing 2 strands out of the 6 here, and I will hopefully be able to separate them from the other 4. Easy. Okay, and we'll do that with the other 2 colors. Whoa, she's fighting me. See, now if you get a little ambitious here, you can get into kind of a knot situation. What I suggest, like what I just did there, you never let go of one end of it. So the pieces I want to take out, I just never let go of as I let go of the other side, and then I try to grab it again and pull a little bit more gently down the rest of the floss. I don't recommend just yanking as hard as you can. That will break your floss and your hopes and your dreams. But the rest of it shouldn't be too hard, especially if you're dealing with, you know, forearm lengths. It's usually not a lot of work. But now we've got 2 of each color, so we're just gonna line up the strands here to be about starting at the same length. They will likely not be the exact same length total, but that's okay. We'll just get it close. Okay. Pinks are pretty close. No, the yellows. Alright. So to get them to kind of wrap together, I just pull them taut and then let them fall back. And because they were recently just wrapped with 6 strands, they kind of naturally twist. I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but there's a bit of a natural twist to it. So we're just gonna let the floss do what it wants to do. Keep it easy. So then just tie them at a knot at the end that they're all lined up. Now I might have to switch the needle that I'm using, because this needle was good for 3 strands. It wasn't really big enough for 6 strands, but that's okay because I have lots of needles to pick through. We're just gonna trim this end, and then we're gonna go to this end and then trim all of them to be the same length so that I'm not fighting a losing battle here. Actually, we'll do a little bit more. There's a weird bend in that one. Okay. So again, in my needle case here, I have a magnet at the bottom so that none of my needles can fall out and then I lose them and then be sad, which is really helpful. I think that case cost me like cents. So it's definitely worth it. So this is much bigger. It's not quite a tapestry needle because the base is still very pointy, but it's much wider, which will enable the floss to go through the fabric better, because the needle will make the hole big enough for all the strands to fit through. Okay. So for a 5-strand or a 5-point kind of rose, we start at the center. We go out. We want to be a little bit further past the other embroidery we've done because we want it to kind of nest behind it. Go back. I'm going to go ahead and just grab about out here. We're essentially making a star shape, so whatever you do, you want to end up with an odd number of strands in this. So that you can do an over-under weave. So if you wanted to do 3, you could do it that way. It's just not going to look like the same design as this exactly, but I'm sure it would still come out looking pretty cool. I've seen them where they go 7 or 9 as well, which I think those look really interesting. It'd be like if you had seen a rose with just a huge number of petals in it, almost like, what are they, like peonies, I think is what I'm thinking of, where it's like a ball of petals that's just really kind of dense. That's the kind of image that I think of when I see like a 7 or a 9 strand weaving rose like this. But alright, so we've got our 5 strands up here. So we're just going to come up near one of them, bring all our floss through, and now we're going to stay on this side of the fabric and we're just going to weave over and under. So we're going over this strand, under this one, all the way around. So over that one, under this one. The other thing I like about using kind of more strands of floss like that we're working with here is the needles aren't extremely sharp, which means that it's pretty easy to weave with. It's not going to get caught in the fabric as easily as a very sharp needle. But again, we're just kind of weaving up and under. And I'm pulling kind of gently on it because I want it to be nested well, but if you pull really hard, you're going to end up with a very 3-dimensional rose, which looks really cool. it's going to take a lot more floss to do. Whereas if you pull it kind of taut and then you push it back down, that's going to make sure that you're covering more area with each of the weaves that you do. So it's a little bit less 3D than what it would look like if you pulled it really, really tight each time. But if you're like me and you have 15 minutes left in a stream, you're trying to get the project done a little faster, right? Or if you're running out of materials, this is a really good way to make sure that you got really good coverage for the floss that you've got. See, we're starting to bunch up a little bit in our floss, so I'm just gonna give every strand a little tug here. So I'm running low on floss, so I'm just going to come back in behind one of the spokes of the wheel. And then we're just going to tie off in the back and then start the next strand here. Whoa. It got away from me there. Yellow, pink, light pink. Just again, pull them straight down, let them twist onto themselves. Okay, and tie them at the end. Trim off the excess there, then go to the other end, keeping everything very close together, and trim them so they're about the same length here. Nice. Ooh, there we go. Alright, so to start back up, I like to come up very close to where I chose to go down, and then just start weaving from there. So over the one that we wrapped around and under the next one. There we go. Starting to look like a rose to me. Now, I'm not exactly perfect. I know it's an amazing feeling to come to, is that I'm not perfect, and that's okay. My circle that I drew as an estimate is not a 100% perfect circle, it's more of an ellipse. And we're just gonna keep weaving until we cover up the circle, and some spokes are a little bit smaller than other spokes. That's okay. It all kinds of evens out as you just add more and more. And this is where using more strands really comes into handy, is again, it just covers the area a lot faster. So this final step, if you were doing in 3 strands only, takes so long. Which it's not really much am, so go bigger. That's what I say. The other trick you could do is, instead of using pen, you could use water-soluble marker. Or they make heat-soluble pens. Those are really cool. I don't have any of those right now. Unfortunately, like, especially the heat-soluble pens, they're only, like, useful. Like, they have an expiration date, is what I'm trying to say. So, like, when you order them, you should order them close to when you're going to use them, because the ink eventually doesn't become erasable, or it erases itself within the pen and you don't have any more ink. It dries up, right? And that's no fun. But I just keep going until the pen is covered. It's one of those no kind of kill like overkill, you know? You still see it, keep going. Yeah. See, like, I can't really see the pen around it anymore. Like, I can if I look this way, but hanging on a wall, like, it's not going to be that noticeable. So, this is a good spot to stop, so I'm going to just bring my floss to the back and then tie it off again. Let's do one more tie. is done. So what we have left is a whole bunch of French knots and a satin flower and some satin leaves. So I think in the 7 minutes I've got, I'm gonna do some of the French knots for the little flowers that are kind of shown here. Like, we've got French knots that belong at the center of the flower, and we've got French knots that belong at the end of the ferns. So I think I'm gonna get the... I think we're gonna do the flowers as the dark pink French knots, and those are suggested with 3 strands. I like 3 strands. Okay. Freedom. Okay. Sometimes this playlist feels like a roller coaster of music. Like, there's 80s jams, there's like Latin music, and then there's techno. So this is some free music, no copyright music available on YouTube, so I'm kind of at the mercy of copyright free trends, but it's not bad. It's just a roller coaster of a vibe. Alright, so to do a little French knot, I think we're gonna start at the bottom here and work our way over. So we're gonna come up near the center of one of the dots, come all the way through. I set down the piece because we're gonna use our 2 hands on the front. Hold on pretty tight with your left hand or your non-dominant hand, and we're gonna wrap it 1, 2, 3 times around your needle. And then we're gonna hold that pretty tight and bring your needle very close to where you came up. I suggest like at least a stitch or 2 of fabric away when you come back down. Remember to keep this fabric pretty tight as you push your needle through, come around to the back and gently pull the needle through your knot. And then when it lets out of your hand, you're gonna just gently continue pulling through. And that's your little French knot. It's really adorable, pretty, fun. There's lots of ways to accidentally mess it up. But I have found that in general, my best technique is always setting it down, grabbing with this hand, 1, 2, 3, keep it tight, coming back in, pick it back up, and then just gently pulling through. I find that when I try to go faster than this, my French knot is a knot on the front, but it looks loopy, or like some of the strands come out. Or if you don't wrap your needle enough, your French knot can be pulled to the back of your piece, which, you know, I don't know what good it's doing over there. But okay, and we'll just come up and do this one. 1, 2, 3. Through. And again, this is one of the stitches that we have on our website if you do want to see the like kind of up close and higher definition than my webcam setup. We have that as a gift for free on our website. I believe Auntie Christine can correct me, but I think it's in the resources tab on the website. See? Every once in a while it tries to trick me, but because I kept this nice and tight here, I can kind of pull this back loose. I got distracted, I got confident. French knots are like the French, and they're frustrating. I'm joking. Please don't be mad at me if you're French. Unfortunately, it just knots itself up, as the name says. As the sad music turns on, Sarah fails to her friends. And you know what we do in these scenarios? We find the end of the knot, and we cut it, and we just try again. Boop. Disappoint. It's okay. Because again, we find moments like these where the things didn't go the way. We just persevere, we do better, we adapt, we overcome. Will not be defeated by floss. Alright, so let's pretend that didn't happen. We're at the top. We're gonna wrap it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Bring it back. Hold it nice and tight. And pull through. See? Not a problem. Alright, we got 2 more. I don't know that I have enough floss for that since the cut. We're gonna find out together. Come on, you need upbeat music. No sad stuff for broken French knots. I paused. Alright, last French knot! Woo! And it's good timing. 2, 3. Alright. What are we doing? Okay. Success. Now we're gonna tie that up. Now we're gonna wrap it up, I think, for today. That's pretty good progress, though. Getting most of the flowers done and all of the ferns. Just the leafies are left. Satin stitches. Those are pretty self-explanatory. You just go over it over and over and over in the same direction. Fill it in. Not as fun as a lazy daisy or a, what do they call it, a spiderweb rose. Alright. Well, this is how far we got today. I think I'm very proud of this goose. I love him so much. So again, we still just have some satin stitching to do over here, and then a couple of yellow French knots right in the center of these flowers. And then this is ready to go. I'll just have to weave the ends here to tie it in the back so that it can hang on the wall like the others. Just like that. I love him. So cute. But thank you so much for joining me today on today's stream. Again, if you joined a little late, I'm Auntie Sarah from CoffeeCraft, and you know, it's our goal here to entertain, inspire, and educate all the different crafts that we're interested in doing. So if you enjoyed the stream, look forward to next month. We're pretty regular now at doing a stream near the end of the month. And you know, we've got our long format videos on Sundays and our shorts during the week. So if you like this kind of content and you want to support us, you could do that by subscribing to our channel and hitting the like button and keeping track of our different videos. And of course, you could check out our website, coffeecrafters.org. We have tons of different tutorials available there. There's even some free resources available currently if you sign up for our email subscriber list. And actually, we do a fun new freebie every month, just to keep it fresh, keep you coming back for more. But you're gonna want to run over there and grab whatever's free, because it won't be free again. It goes into the shop after the month of freedom to our email list. But anyway, I do appreciate you joining me today. I had a lot of fun. I hope that you had some chill, fun crafting time with me. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. So, hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.